Hey, it's Wrestlemania week, which means it's once again time for my annual pro wrestling related episode of 5 Stupid Things. So in that spirit, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about Vince McMahon. His creative genius is overrated. Despite his undeniable importance, I find WWE owner Vince McMahon's status as a wrestling genius more than a little questionable. And it's not Vince's many high-profile missteps, the WBF, the XFL, the botched but relentless main event push for Roman Reigns, that cause me to question his brilliance. It's actually what is arguably his greatest success, Hulk Hogan. The juggernaut who took pro wrestling mainstream in the 1980s and laid the foundation for every success WWE has enjoyed since then. Because although many people give Vince McMahon credit for creating Hulk Hogan, the truth is, Hogan was already the most popular wrestler in the country when he joined the company in 1983. All Vince did was put his world title on Hogan and let Hogan just do his thing for the better part of the next decade. Now, is that a good sense of timing? Yeah. Is that a canny sense of where the business was going? Absolutely. But is that genius? I don't think so. Not that Vince needed to be a genius while he employed predatory business practices. Back when Vince was aggressively expanding the then WWF into territories controlled by rival wrestling promoters, a favorite trick of his was to wait until the rival promotion was about to present a hotly anticipated match, then swoop in, sign away all of their top stars, and buy out their time slots on local TV stations, simultaneously crippling the competition and immediately establishing the WWF's dominance in that area. Vince also once called a state athletic commission trying to get a rival company's pay-per-view canceled because one of the stars of that show was an amputee who wrestled with an artificial foot. A few years after that, Vince hired that same wrestler, Kerry Von Erich, to come work for him at the WWF. History doesn't really seem to matter all that much to Vince. Maybe because he rewrites history in his favor. Not only does he now get credit for creating Hulk Hogan, it's also become standard WWE company line that pro wrestling was confined to high school gymnasiums and smoky American Legion halls before Vince McMahon came along and started running shows in sports arenas and stadiums, and that the live crowd for WrestleMania 3 was a record-breaking 93,000. Both of those are false. Pro wrestling has been attracting crowds numbering in the tens of thousands since way before Vince McMahon's time, at least since the first half of the 20th century, and a more accurate estimate for the attendance of WrestleMania 3 is probably around 78,000. Why would Vince lie to inflate an already impressive attendance figure? Well, one possible reason is that he's in the wrestling business, which requires you to be somewhat full of shit. But another reason might be found in the fact that he seems embarrassed by the business he's in. Vince McMahon has done more to revolutionize his industry than anyone since Toots Mondt first combined combat sport and theater to create what we now know as pro wrestling in the 1920s. And yet, Vince has never seemed entirely comfortable being thought of as a wrestling promoter. He doesn't even call his product wrestling, referring to it instead as sports entertainment. Vince's need for validation from beyond the wrestling business isn't exactly subtle. I'd even go so far as to say he radiates insecurity. Superficially, Vince McMahon seems to possess an almost delusional level of self-assurance, and yet he constantly lies to embellish his own accomplishments. He produces WWE television under a bizarre and idiosyncratic set of rules that includes a ban on referring to championship titles as belts and instructions to announcers to avoid the use of pronouns. And he refers to his company's flagship TV show, Monday Night Raw, as an action-adventure series. Can it be that Vince McMahon would rather be a movie magnate or a legitimate sports mogul? If so, I'm afraid he may have to settle for merely being the most successful promoter in the history of professional wrestling. I hope that can be enough for Vince. I also hope that he pulls the plug on the Roman Reigns push sooner rather than later, because, for real, Vince, that shit ain't happening. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time. Hey folks, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and share it and subscribe to this channel if you're not subbed already. And also, please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron. Thanks for watching.